Welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Rabbit Hole Podcast. I am your host, CSD Fantasy. Hello, Fantasy Faithfuls, and welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Rabbit Hole Podcast. My name is Carl Dunger, and I'm flanked by the one and only Nick Faber and the coin master, Matt, man of the people. He's a better person than me, last minute Matt Williams. How y'all doing?
There goes my hero. What was it? What was your nickname that we came up with? Something about being a hero. I was a hero.
I am.
Hero. Matt, I am a hero, Williams.
Traffic, couldn't be helped. Fight, I was a hero, and then forgot. That was my bad.
I missed the show once because my neighbors, during quarantine, this was like in the beginning, like lockdown quarantine. You didn't want to even touch your parents. You know what I mean? That kind of quarantine. And these two people out back were like getting into a fist fight. So, you know, I went up and broke it up. So, hero.
Here, yeah, definitely. No, you are a true American.
I brave
hero.
drunken idiots and COVID.
Captain America, Matt Williams. I mean, what's the difference?
Are they ever in the same place at the same time? That's all.
Are they really? Someone tell me. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I would. Like, when you swap your outfits, is this like Mets cap Matt is the regular one, and we're seeing like the broody anti-hero Matt, who's like right now without the cap. You kind of have that more edgy look to you of I can kick your ass to save humanity right now.
Kind of close. This is like I couldn't find my hat and I didn't feel like looking for it. So like you were there.
You should go without the hat more often, man. Let that hair flow. You got that little cowlick up front, man. You look
honestly, I started wearing the hat for a long time because I just didn't. You couldn't get a haircut anywhere.
That's why you did it.
It's true.
I don't really wear. Honestly, I don't wear a hat like ever. I wear it for shows. That's about it.
Yeah, I've started. My wife got me to start wearing hats. She kind of I like you in hats. This is what we're doing now.
Hey, when your girl says that, you say, all right, you know.
The chat is up in arm. Coin Master is back, baby. Yeah, you kind of what are you gonna do? Be like, no, I don't want to wear a hat.
Yeah, the only time I ever really stand up for myself is when I shave to a mustache. My wife's like, I'm gonna leave you if you keep that, and it's like, no, I'm gonna keep it, and I last like a good 2-3 weeks, and then it's gone.
And then she leaves you.
And then she leaves me, so I leave the mustache. You know.
See, this is laziness. That's what this is. This is I work from home, and I had no reason. That's what this is.
You had no reason to shave. I try to keep it. Mine looks ugly long. Like is not. It does not look good at all. My hair, my wife did this, so I mean that's pretty all right. It looks a mess now because of the cap, but
if anyone listening who can't see, it's Sonic the Hedgehog. So
yeah. That's kind of we concurred that was one of Jim Carrey's best movies, though. So I mean that's kind of good.
That was a good movie with Jim Carrey in it, and a good role by him, but not one of his best movies.
No, okay, not one of his best, but it was enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree. It was enjoyable.
We do not agree with the opinions of CSD Fantasy on his movies. We'd like that to be known.
Oh, we watched Liar Liar like 2 weeks ago, and it still holds up. It's super good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Do you know why I pulled you over? Depends on how long you were following me. It's such a great line. That was so good.
Jim Carrey's
It's fantastic, and today we do have a fantastic show for you, but feel free to interrupt at any point in the live chat. We are here to serve. Before we get into today's show, I would like to remind you to hit that like button. Please share on social media to help us get the word out there. Subscribe if you haven't done so, and check out csdfantasy.com for even more content. And please leave a review on your favorite source for podcasts, such as Apple Podcasts or Spotify. But now, to the news.
The news.
Yes, that's what we were missing last week. That Matt voice just adds so much to the drop that I don't know why I haven't recorded it and just have it be a part of the drop.
Can't be recorded. It can't be recorded. That's
It has to be organic.
It has to be organic. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it adds so much to the show, and just you
depends.
feel,
like if there's no news, I can do a question mark. Like The news?
The news? Pause for dramatic effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and put that in the script, and then
Chicago Bears only. The news.
I mean that's pretty good too. Do a strictly Bears episode.
Nah, pass.
We do have some fun news items today, though, with Derrick Henry signing a 4-year deal. He's a big deal in fantasy, but this deal is like 4-year deal for a running back that you've been running into the ground. This is like if the Cowboys would have given DeMarco Murray that huge contract years ago. He doesn't have 4 years.
I love this deal. I love it.
Why? Tell me why.
I don't know. What do you not like about it?
It's too long.
4 years?
Yeah, it's too long.
I don't know. I mean, it's $25 million guaranteed, and for someone that it's one of those things where you want to pay a guy that you feel like you owe money to.
Yeah.
And he's and there's a big, that big year. Was there like 50 running backs that are all pro coming up in free agency in 2021? I think it's good. I think that he was smart to sign it. I think they were smart to just go ahead and get it over with. They already have their quarterback. I think it's fine. You know how many of these guys are like Aaron Jones? There's going to be people making nothing in that free agent class. Like the ones that are last to sign, there's going to be like really quality guys getting nothing.
Yeah, but I just feel like you're spending on Derrick Henry after his absolutely best season. And you're kind of doing that thing where like what you're saying is you're paying somebody because you kind of have to, not because you want to or because it's the right thing to do. And I feel like it's so much DeMarco Murray bells for me that it just feels like this won't be the right move. And
here's I guess for the Titans, here's my thing, right? Look at what happened. Like Dalvin Cook's talking about holding out, Melvin Gordon held out, Le'Veon Bell held out, and it kind of screwed their team. If Le'Veon Bell was with Pittsburgh that entire year, who knows what they could have done. The Chargers, obviously, now they're kind of broken up. Who knows? Maybe that wouldn't have changed much for them. But the time for the Titans to win is now, right? And I think that they just had to kind of go for it. If he decided to hold out for whatever reason, they're completely screwed. You have all those players going into free agency next year. We could see a few of them hold out, especially with the COVID thing going on. So I think for the Titans especially, their time to win is now. Like if they're not doing it with Derrick Henry, they're not doing it at all. They need him. Maybe they're wasting their money, but I think it's a risk that I'm okay with for them because if he leaves, they're screwed. If he's done, they're screwed. The only way to win a Super Bowl anytime soon is him repeating what he did last year. In my opinion.
Nick?
Yeah, I'm never going to be someone who sides with the running back. And I just don't think running backs should be paid. Running backs don't really get the money that they deserve, and I understand that, but that's for a reason. And I don't think teams benefit from paying running backs. I just went on record saying I doubt any running back in this year's free agency gets re-signed on a long-term contract. And then, of course, a day later, Derrick Henry signs a long-term contract. So I was wrong on that. I understand. But
is 4 years long? Is that long?
Yeah, I mean,
running back. It is.
Only $25 million guaranteed, so it's not really even 4 years.
And to be all honest,
$25 million, it could be worth him to just cut him next year if he sucks. It's like I pay him $25 million for this year alone.
And that's what plays into the part that you had just said, Matt, into the fact that they have to win now. And this contract at least allows them to get out of it after a couple of years because they probably won't have Derrick Henry for 4 years. I'll put that's almost a full guarantee is that he's not going to be there for 4 years. And I doubt that we're going to see any other running backs get signed to big, long contracts. Kamara's up, Cook is up, Mixon's up. With the draft class that's coming in, I mean, it's going to be very interesting. Aaron Jones, like you mentioned. But for the Titans, right now, they need Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, good. I'm glad he signed the contract. Like, that's awesome for him. For fantasy, I don't know. I mean, I don't think this moves him up or down in any way. I don't think getting the contract out of the way rectifies like any big fantasy performance or anything of that nature. But for all intents and purposes, for Derrick Henry, that's awesome. For the Titans, I can't buy into it. Don't ever pay the running back.
So Travis has a comment here that says Kamara will get a bag. I'm assuming that's a bag of money, and I have to disagree with that too. I think Derrick Henry and Ezekiel Elliott are the only two that actually made sense to pay. I think it's Zeke was way overpaid. But if you're looking at other running backs that have gotten paid, Todd Gurley, Devontae Freeman, Le'Veon Bell, they aren't producing what they should be with the money.
If I'm one of them, any of them, I will be like, hey, what Henry got seems fine and fair. I'll take that. Yeah. Everyone should be doing that right now. They should all be doing that.
He didn't get the top paid running back. He isn't top paid running back, right? Like he is now like 4th highest paid running back.
Yeah, I think so. After Zeke is number 1, and then you have Gurley. I don't know if David Johnson, Bell maybe he's in the.
And then comes to Derrick Henry. That's smart. That's a smart contract because you're not overpaying them, and that the running backs are now like they want to be the highest paid. Everyone always wants to be the highest paid of that position. You know what I mean? But running backs need to realize that those guys, that was the ceiling. It's not going to top that anymore. We're not going to hit those Zeke numbers anymore. Yeah. Like, you need to be signing what Derrick Henry signed and respect it. I mean, the only
think about this way: if Zeke or Henry have a bad year this year, it deep sixes that entire class because everyone will understand. All right, any reason we thought it was a good idea to pay them, all you need is 1 out of 2 to fail, or not even fail, just fall below expectations. That's all I got to do.
And unfortunately, both of their expectations are absurdly high. So it's almost, unless they have another bonkers year, they're probably gonna,
I do believe in Henry a little bit. I think people are writing him off a little much. If anyone is going to pull a Marshawn Lynch, and I think it's him, kind of bulldoze his way into older age. But, I mean, I agree with you in general. But the only thing I disagree is I think the Titans, I don't know what happens behind the scenes. I feel that they had to keep him no matter what the cost, because I think no matter who else they bring in there, I mean, they are Derrick Henry. Even Ryan Tannehill obviously allowed them to become, more dangerous, but they are Derrick Henry. Without him, they are nothing. So
they are the Titans.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not only is it a running game, but it's a heavy run contact, rushing right up the, the pound and ground and pound, like old school stuff. But yeah, I don't think they're going to win with them either. So I guess, but if you're a Titans fan, I think all Titans fans are happy today. It
gives you hope as a Titans fan. Like if you're a Titans fan, it gives you hope that you did this instead of like, okay, we have one good season and now we're burning it down again. Yay. Now you're kind of like, okay, we had a good season. We're rolling the dice that we can do it and do it just a little bit better. Like you got the band back together for one last ride. Can we do it? Like, is this the year? And now we have Henry back before. If you, like you said, if you didn't have Derrick Henry, then you're kind of like, well, Tannehill is nice, I guess.
Yeah, you got 2 years. Run it back. Let's try to do it in 2 years. If not, let's rethink this.
I think you guys aren't looking too into the future enough and thinking too much of the past. I think by the end of this year, it will no longer be the Derrick Henry team, and it will be the A.J. Brown team. I think he's going to catch the more ESPN highlight reels. He's going to be the one scoring more touchdowns. They're still going to thrive through Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry will still be him. Assuming he's healthy for 16 games, he's still going to do the ground and pound, and that's what the Titans will do. But A.J. Brown is better than giving credit, and he is about to emerge, in my opinion, a top 7 wide receiver, and he's going to be an everywhere. He's going to be a name that everyone knows.
No, I love A.J. I just think if Derrick Henry's not Derrick Henry, they're last place.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think they need Derrick Henry for practical purposes, maybe not even for fantasy purposes. They need him to win.
Yeah,
but the good thing here for fantasy is that they re-signed Derrick Henry for A.J. Brown. Because Derrick Henry opens up for A.J. Brown to get open.
Yeah, you got to worry about that guy. You got to put some defenders in the box. Yeah. You're screwed.
So then can open up the doors for like Johnny Smith, and he can end up being someone that you end up streaming throughout the year and can have some productive weeks. Maybe not all in all like an amazing season, but productive weeks.
Yeah, I think it's like we've talked a lot how much sense it makes for the Titans to re-sign from a team building perspective, but from a fantasy perspective, this is fantastic. I'm not a huge Derrick Henry fan in fantasy as he's a little too volatile for me, but for A.J. Brown, this is fantastic. Imagine if they would have gone with like Carlos Hyde instead, like, oh, we got to bring in somebody. You're not excited about Carlos Hyde forcing people to stack the box. Now they're like, Oh, they still have Derrick Henry. They still have Ryan Tannehill. Tannehill has some wheels on him. Like, we shouldn't forget that he can actually run the football too. So I'm super excited what this does for the pass catchers in Tennessee. A sentence I never thought I would say ever. Like, excited about the pass catchers in Tennessee is so far away from the narrative that I've been.
It's all because Mariota's gone.
I really wish they'd trade Corey Davis to the Packers.
Oh,
I'm not saying I believe in Corey Davis, but he obviously is not going to do a thing there. Like, he's either nothing or he needs to change the scenery. I honestly, if you made me bet, I'd say there's something in the tank there. Whether that's what fantasy owners that are still clinging to hope is, it's probably not going to happen for you. But he's not worthless. We've seen him perform.
Have we?
What?
2 games? No,
I'm just saying we know the talent is there. Yeah. Maybe a full off season with Tannehill. I don't know. Maybe they scrape something together. But yeah, God, ship him out of town for God's sakes. If you're not going to use him, get him out of there. I know they turned down his option, right? They already did that, correct?
They did that.
So just ship him out.
Yeah, and you want it?
Green Bay? Oh, what Devin Funchess as our wide receiver too? Yes, I would like to take a shot at Corey Davis, please. I will take the gamble.
Gamble on trash. Speaking of somebody who's not trash, there's more franchise tag fun times going on, and it's AJ Green did not sign his tag today, which was interesting.
Does that mean anything? Isn't that just like a statement? Like, it doesn't actually mean anything, right?
Could it be an indication that he might sit out?
Jeez, how many years can he sit out?
Yeah, why would he?
I mean, franchise tag, didn't sign it. Maybe feel like this isn't the year to be on the field. Maybe feels uncomfortable health-wise, not just with his body.
But if you were going to go to free agency, would you stand a better chance of going out there and trying your best this year or sitting out? I mean, God, if he's sitting out, I have no idea. I mean, how much money could he possibly get?
Yeah, no,
I think he makes less than. I wouldn't pay him more. I'd pay him less than Robbie Anderson got.
Maybe it's less to do with money and more to do with winning.
I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. With his injury history, he'd be better off signing it, playing, and retiring than sitting out. I mean, that's a lot of money. Well, what's the tag? Oh, in the chat, that's $17 million. Is that accurate? You can't tell me $17 million. Sign it, play. If it doesn't work out, you have $17 million. If it does work out, go get more money because it worked out. And you
still have $17 million.
Sitting out for him is like, I understand how some people like the running back sit out. I understand that. Him sitting out is asinine.
I agree. I mean, the Bengals. I just agree with Matt to the fact that there's no reason for him to sit out and skip out on 17 mil. There really just isn't a reason. It is not going to benefit you. The one thing it can do is maybe prolong your career one extra year, but the amount of money that you would get that extra year at the back end rather than right now is not going to be anywhere near, comparable. So I don't think there's any reason for it. I don't think it matters. I think he'll be out there on week 1 if there's NFL.
And then lastly, we have Hunter Henry signed his tag, so he's going to be back with the Los Angeles Chargers, as we assumed. I don't know if anybody here caught that the Chargers were trending on Twitter a few days ago, and I just wanted to because we've talked so much Chargers here, and they got for California the most popular team in California for was it ESPN or somebody who done research. The most popular team, not like the Lakers or
Ohio State got the most popular team in Michigan. In Michigan, I mean, this was put out by Barstool Sports.
We can.
They literally 2/3 of this was meant to troll people. Ohio State wasn't the most popular in Ohio, but it was the most popular in Michigan with a Wolverine. Come on. No, but it's we at least have Hunter Henry back. New Jersey, where I live, the most popular team. Who could? Does either of you know? If you know, don't say it. If you don't know, take a guess.
Devils.
Yeah, it's the fucking Devils. That's what they put. It's the best. It's the most popular team in New Jersey. The Devils. Nothing against NHL, but I gotta say, 75% of New Jerseyans, whatever we are, they don't even know the Devils are a team.
What?
It's New Jersey. We don't, it's not. It's New Jersey. It's New York. The Devils are in New York. They play at the Meadowlands. So most of New Jersey is, if anything, for hockey, it's the Flyers. That's most of the state is the Flyers, because North Jersey is split amongst the Islanders, the Rangers, and the Devils. So if there's a popular team in New Jersey, it's probably the Flyers.
I would just like to make a little statement here, because I was not the one to bring up a second sport on the show for once. Yes, I did not bring up hockey or anything. I just said the Devils.
Move on, Matt. Move on.
Matt, you got to do better. You got to do better. No, but we do have a lot to talk about with the NFC North here today. So let's move on to the weekly topic instead.
Nick doesn't want to talk about the weekly topic.
No, he really doesn't, but he will.
I know.
I'll tell him to.
Just in the AFC South, we already covered the Titans.
If you want to just stop this show and go listen to another podcast where I just talked about this exact same thing that we just recorded a week ago, go listen to Beer Fueled Fantasy Football. It's great.
Don't do that though. Listen to both.
They're both great.
That's the key in the Corona time. Listen to all the podcasts, because we will be breaking down each division moving forward each week, and we will discuss the best fantasy players in the division and what we expect from them. Today, we are looking at the Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers, Chicago Bears, and Minnesota Vikings, also known as the what, Nick? The what?
Black and blue division.
Oh, NFC North.
Oh.
I just want to mess with you.
It's the black and blue division, baby. Also, by the way, during these eight great weeks of these divisions, the AFC East is going to be a hootenanny. Can't wait to debate between N'Keal Harry and Devontae Parker. Oh, it's going to be some highlight shows right there. Some entertainment for all.
You got Stephon Diggs, Jamison Crowder.
Cam Newton. Hey, let's go.
Yeah, is he the best? No, Josh Allen. Okay, I was about to be like, is he the best quarterback in that division?
If healthy, he definitely is, right? All right, whatever. NFC North, right?
NFC North, and I thought we should start a little bit with the Chicago Bears, as I do believe they are the weakest teams in terms of fantasy talent. Their running back roles
Unless
are
IDP, if anyone is.
Huh?
Unless anyone's an IDP player.
Yeah, unless they're an IDP player. But for the case of offense in fantasy, they have running backs with David Montgomery and Tariq Cohen. The wide receiver position is, in my opinion, only Allen Robinson. They have no tight end I would touch in fantasy. Jimmy Graham and a second-round rookie is not really what I like to see at the position. And quarterback room with Nick Foles and Mitch Trubisky is far from ideal in terms of fantasy. I mean, they aren't really guys that put up huge numbers themselves or put the players around them in position to score a ton of fantasy points, especially as I do believe that Nick Foles will have some injury issues. I don't think he plays all 16 games, and then you have Trubisky back. The only person I would consider drafting here is Allen Robinson, and in context of the NFC North, he wouldn't even crack my top 3 of fantasy wide receivers that I would like from the division.
He would crack my top 3.
He would not crack my top 3 either.
He would be my third. Devontae, Galladay, and Allen. You guys like Thielen? I'm not a fan because they're not going to put him back in the slot where he needs to be. I'm like very off of Thielen. I don't think they're going to use him well.
I think that he's going to be the only one that they have the opportunity to use, and they will be able to scheme beautiful plays for him and be able to get Kirk Cousins opportunities there. They're still going to be able to rely on the play action, and Thielen's going to be very heavily involved in that. I mean, Kirk Cousins had 13 play action touchdowns last year, which led the league. And a lot of them went to Adam, and I think that's not going to go away. And I see what you're saying, where you might not think they're going to be able to use him in the slot because they don't have him. But if Justin Jefferson can really step up and hopefully by like week 5, 6 make some impactful routes and catches, then I think we'll be able to see more of Thielen in the slot. And maybe that's not how it starts, but there's a good chance that that's how it ends. I don't love Adam Thielen. I'm just saying I like him more than Allen Robinson, especially for the fact that Allen Robinson still has Trubisky and Foles, and honestly, neither one of them spark interest to me. I think the volume's going to be there, and he's a very talented wide receiver. I have him ranked pretty high. I think he's like my 9th wide receiver right now But I'm just, and I don't know. I'd rather have Juju, honestly, than Allen Robinson, and that's where he's at right now. I think that's kind of the toss-up for me. Is that's that 9-10 wide receiver in my spot.
Yeah, it's difficult for me to go with a wide receiver that I feel have a quarterback situation that is not ideal, or not ideal, but just far from good.
And it's that early. You know what I mean? Like if you're drafting a guy who could be peppered with targets with a bad quarterback play, but you're getting them in the 6th, 7th, 8th round, that's I think a gold mine, a steal. But you're now spending your 3rd round pick on Allen Robinson, who has Mr. Trubisky throwing to him. I think that's just really risky. If you get him in the 4th round, maybe. But
I mean, he was in its success versus man coverage. He was number 1 in the NFL. He was 3rd in 20+ yards downfield. Like, I think there's opportunity for him because he's gonna get all the targets. I do think Nick Foles will get the job. I think that will be better. Some people don't think it matters. I think it will. So yeah, I think I don't know. I think for the narrative, I like Robinson. I am actually fine taking him there too. I'm fine with him being my wide receiver 1. To be honest, I am.
So like,
if it went that way.
You would still have.
If I went running back, whatever.
Yeah, but you would still have Devontae and Kenny Golladay above him, right?
Oh, yeah. Golladay. I said Robinson was 3rd in deep passes. Golladay would be number 1, and he has Matthew Stafford throwing to him. So yeah, Golladay for sure.
Because right now they're going like early 3rd or mid 3rd. You got Golladay, Thielen, and Robinson right next to each other, and I don't feel like it's that close.
I'd feel comfortable taking Golladay in the 2nd, if, to be honest, I would.
Yeah, I think there's a bigger gap between Devontae Adams and Kenny Golladay down to Adam Thielen and Robinson than it is between Thielen and Robinson. If you want to make the argument that Robinson should be ahead of Thielen, I could buy that, but
these are thin. I won't.
Yeah.
It's preference, really, at that point. I mean, honestly, I'm not reaching for either of those guys. Devontae, I'd take if the running back wasn't there. Golladay, I'd reach for. The other 2, I'd only be interested kind of if they fell. I wouldn't really be overly interested in like being aggressive to get either Thielen or Robinson.
Yeah, no, I'm not super excited to draft either one of them, and I've like Allen Robinson. It's interesting to me that he did get peppered with targets like Nick was talking about, and that's something I want to take a flyer on later on. I don't want to lean on a guy that needs 135 targets to be successful when I can get a guy 2 rounds later who might have the same amount of targets and get the same stuff, or have even fewer targets and be more productive with those targets. I feel like it's always a little bit of a gamble if you're only relying on opportunity, especially with I don't expect the Bears defense to just be terrible to the point where they're going to have to throw it all the time.
Would you rather have Allen Robinson or OBJ?
I'll rather go with Beckham.
Yeah. No, actually, I'd rather have Allen Robinson. The Cleveland room's really tough. The reason I like Allen Robinson is because he doesn't really have any real competition for work. OBJ does. So yeah, I could regret that, but if I was forced, I think my gut tells me Allen Robinson would be the call.
I'd go with OBJ. Would you go with Allen Robinson or Amari Cooper?
Same reason. Allen Robinson for the same exact reason.
Yeah, and there we're starting to get a little bit more in the vein where I would start leaning towards Allen Robinson. I feel like he has, like you said, it's just not crowded enough. While Amari's room, and then you got to add Zeke to that one too. I would think.
Yeah, let me throw one more in there since now it seems like we're on the Allen Robinson train. Last one, Allen Robinson or DJ Moore, who does not have a lot of competition.
DJ Moore.
Oh yeah, DJ Moore.
It's kind of crazy. Like DJ Moore going 4 picks behind Allen Robinson, OBJ 1 pick behind, Amari Cooper. DJ Moore, that's not too bad. I would probably go with DJ Moore over Allen Robinson because he's got better quarterback play, and I think the ceiling can be just as high as Allen Robinson's was. And like when he was when he had the 8 touchdowns, 1,400 yards or whatever he had his best year.
This conversation has made me realize I am not going to shop in this aisle very much for wide receivers. I will be going either before this or I will probably be waiting after this, but I don't like this area much.
Your third round and the beginning of the fourth round we went through, which means if you go running back, this is the exact aisle you're going to find yourself in. And
I hate this aisle, and it's stupid.
You're going to have what's on sale, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I will say I would be very happy to be picking whoever fell from this group because literally I'm really like you can't fit daylight between some of these people.
But this is the NFC North aisle too. Like the ADP this is where they fall. Yeah. The NFC North guy. Like if you go running back, you're gonna be stuck with one of these guys that you might not be super excited about. While you could, like looking at somebody like Cooper Kupp, who I think he had like roughly 20 less targets than Allen Robinson, but only 4 less receptions. Like I'll rather go with him almost a full round later than.
Well, here's the thing: I wouldn't take this person over them, and I wouldn't put money on it. But if Marvin Jones ended up ahead of Thielen and Robinson, wouldn't shock me at all. I doubt him and Galladay would. That something would probably went wrong, but this whole aisle is just not very valuable. It's just there's so many guys behind him that could finish in front of him. I mean, there's so many. Like round 3 is the worst.
Oh my God! All this makes me want to do is like this just solidifies the fact you have to go running back, no matter what pick you're at. No matter if you're at a pick that you could get Michael Thomas early, Vontae Adams at a good price. You have to go running back because dealing with these wide receivers compared to the third round running backs, it's light years in my opinion. Give me any of these wide receivers have potential to be like top 10 wide receivers. All the running backs after the 10th running back have zero potential to be a top 10.
I'm not saying I'm taking a wide receiver before this.
And you are. I'm just saying that
I might take running backs in a row at this point.
This solidifies the fact that you have to go running back. And then go wide receiver, tight end. If you don't like these wide receivers in the third round, go tight end with Mark Andrews and then get that wide receiver train going in 4, 5, 6 kind of thing. You have to go running back early. You have to in this year's draft.
Because we're talking, this kind of ties in what we talked about earlier. Where, if you guys have ADP up, where's Robinson and Thielen going compared to a guy like A.J. Brown, who we just talked about? Because I'd much rather have A.J. Brown than both of them.
Robinson and Thielen. Go ahead, Nick.
Oh, I'm so sorry. 7th pick, 4th round, A.J. Brown. Comparison, Galladay's 2nd pick, 3rd round. Thielen's 5th pick, 3rd round. Robinson is 8th pick, 3rd round.
Yeah, if I could, I mean, it's a gamble. You'd have to have more options than A.J. Brown if you're willing to gamble waiting on your first wide receiver. But if I had, I'd like A.J. in the 4th a lot better than either of those guys in the 3rd.
Yeah, you got value in the 4th with like Moore, Kupp, Ridley, and Brown and Woods.
Yeah, that's a nice place right there. Grab something else in the 3rd. Grab something else.
And Metcalf is there. That's what I'm saying. You go running back, tight end. Then you can go with any of those guys. And then you can see if whoever falls, because people are trying to stock up on running backs because they went with Julio Jones early. And now you have the opportunity to maybe get a Robert Woods and A.J. Brown while you have 2 stud running backs and a tight end that's going to be your guy all year. Like, that's just how you want to build your team right there, in my opinion. I love it.
Yeah, because
show's done. We just showed you how to win fantasy football. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, because if we tie it back to the Bears, you have David Montgomery going 8th pick of the 4th round, and that's way too early for him, in my opinion. I'm not comfortable with going him in the 4th round. What he's shown, that's not incredible value to me. I'd rather go like Mark Ingram there in the 4th round, or all of the receivers you just mentioned, all of them. Like, there's just not value in a Chicago running back to me at this point. Tariq Cohen is a nice pass catcher. David Montgomery could potentially be a lead back, but I'm not comfortable going him in the 4th when I can get Robert Woods in the 4th.
So I'm comfortable. I'm actually pretty bullish on David Montgomery this year. And I'm not going to be scared away by a rookie performance on a shitty team without any quarterback play. that was the worst situation to put a running back in. And a running back is only as good as their surroundings. They're only as good as their team and as good as their quarterback. And he had horrible, horrible surroundings, horrible quarterback, horrible play calling. And I would like to think that the Bears are going to do something to adjust that and to like make this right, to right the ship. You know what I mean? And I think David Montgomery is going to be at the forefront of that. I don't think it's going to be Tariq Cohen, who I also think is pretty good value, to be all honest, for in the PPR leagues right now. But David Montgomery, I liked him a lot better when it was late 5th, early 6th. I was like, that's stupid late for David Montgomery. He's still going to be heavily used. There is no – who's third string? There's no one that's going to be rivaling him for snaps, except for Tariq Cohen, who I think is just going to be that third down back. I think we saw that Montgomery can still get attempts with Cohen there. And I think we're just going to see a better David Montgomery than we did last year. Late 4th round, I still think it's pretty good value. I don't mind if I get into a position where I need a running back in the 4th round, and I'm debating between David Montgomery and Devin Singletary. I'm going David Montgomery over Singletary because I'm more nervous of Zach Moss taking over that job than I am a Tariq Cohen becoming the 3-down back in Chicago. I just don't see that happening. So I don't mind David Montgomery. I'm actually I like him a lot for anyone who's trying to draft around that late 4th round. I think it's a perfect perfect spot for him, for the opportunity that you're going to get out of him. But all in all, I literally just sat here and told you not to draft running backs in the 4th round. So don't get into a situation where you need to draft David Montgomery. If you need to, I don't mind him.
He can be your running back 2. He should never be your running back 1 or a flex.
If you're waiting until the 4th round to draft a running back, good luck.
Honestly, if I went running back, and felt like taking 3 in a row, I wouldn't actually take it. If I was picking late, I wouldn't mind. Like if I was on like the turn, I wouldn't mind going running back 1, 2, taking Montgomery and then a wide receiver in the 4th. I wouldn't hate it. I would rather go the tight end route that Nick talked about. But Montgomery, it's funny. If you look at the running backs in round 3, I kind of prefer Montgomery to them. But, there's no value in pulling him early. But I don't. Montgomery, where he's going, like Nick said, I think it's a nice risk reward. It's a good spot if you can get him at the end of the 4th.
I mean, let's look at like the people behind him: Devin Singletary, Kareem Hunt, Raheem Mostert, Cam Akers, DeAndre Swift, who are going to run into rookie problems very similar to what we saw with David Montgomery when he was being drafted in the 4th round, 3rd round last year. Like all these running backs on it, Damian Williams, like I'm going into the late 6th, 7th round. James White, Darius Geis. He is the last of the good running backs. And if you think that you're going to be able to get him 5th, 6th round, you're going to be drafting a guy like Kareem Hunt or Cam Akers. So I think for David Montgomery, Devin Singletary, the last 2 of the good quote unquote running backs, you're probably not going to be even getting them in the 8th pick where he's ADP'd right now. You're probably going to have to get him 3rd, 4th pick in the 4th round to get him. So I
say he moves up around. I agree with you, especially because after him, unless you're in full PPR where there's guys like Cohen and people like Kareem Hunt that can really help you. Yeah, I mean, people are going to realize that once the real drafts start. And I think Montgomery will be moved up to at least beginning of the 4th, end of 3rd.
I agree 100% with that.
So we ranked them, the wide receivers with Allen Robinson and Kennedy Golladay, Devontae Adams, and Adam Thielen as the absolute best for fantasy from the NFC North. Where do we put David Montgomery with DeAndre Swift, with Kerryon Johnson, Aaron Jones, Dalvin Cook? Like, where does he fall there? Is he 4? Is he 3rd? Like, where do you
tough,
place
right? Because Cook, we don't know if he's holding out, but other than that, you just put him at 1 by default.
Yeah,
and we don't know what Detroit's going to do, so I feel like I got to put Montgomery 3rd for now. I think you have to, just based on lack of information. I think after training camp, maybe we change that after we see. But for now, I think it's Cook, Jones, Montgomery, Detroit.
I think that here's what I would say. I would agree with Travis instead of Dan and say that I would put him at 3rd today. I would put him above all the Lions running backs, any of the Lions running backs. But ask me again a week into the season, and I'll have Swift number 1 over everyone. Because I bet Swift comes out onto the scene and just breaks it out. 150 yards to start the season. It's going to be monstrous. It's going to be great. And honestly, I could see it happening where he could be like 6th by the end of the year. We could have Kerryon Johnson and Swift be better than Montgomery. We could see like A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones be better than David Montgomery. We could see Alex Madison and Dalvin Cook be better than David. To be all honest, I couldn't tell you that David Montgomery is a better running back, not fantasy-wise, but running back than Alex Madison. Alex Madison, it seems like he's a better running back, and that just might be the offensive line, the team he's on. Like I said, we'll see what David Montgomery does this year. I'm not going to base everything just on his rookie, but it could be halfway through the season, and David Montgomery could be the 8th best running back in the division.
Based on talent, if Dalvin Cook sits out, I think that the 2 best running backs by talent in this division are both rookies. I think it's Swift and Dillon. I think those are your 2 best running backs if Cook is sitting out. Like, I mean, probably not this year, but like in terms of actually talent, I think that's the call.
If we're looking at groups then and doing like a 1-2 punch, because that becomes super interesting in this division. Yeah. Who has the better 1-2 punch? I still think that Minnesota has the best 1-2 punch if Cook is playing, but if he's not playing, they're falling down on the 1-2 punch behind, in my opinion, Detroit. I think they have the better 1-2 punch than the other teams. I do like Aaron Jones and Dillon, but I prefer Kerryon and Swift.
If they're all healthy, I don't know. I mean, Kerryon, it's hard. If they're healthy, it's intriguing. Like, what are they doing with training camp? Like, what is that now? Like, how many reps are the rookies even going to get? If they don't get many, that's probably going to hurt them. So it's such a weird thing to gauge. I mean, honestly, I would probably rank them the same. If Cook's healthy, you have Minnesota first. If he's sitting out, they're not even in the list. And then I'd have Green Bay ahead of Detroit, but that is only because I'm just not sure what's going on with how many reps the rookies could get. And Aaron Jones is obviously the most established of the group, but that's razor thin. And then obviously Chicago after that, unless, if Cook's sitting, I have to them in distant last.
This is a great question. I'm glad I got to go last on this. So yeah, let's just assume Cook is healthy. Cook and Vikings #1. Get Cook out of there. Madison and Boone drop to 4th. And actually, the last podcast I did with Beer Fuel that I talked about earlier, and if you are still listening, I'm not listening to them yet, but I did Dan Theory, for anyone who knows fantasy Twitter community. He's a great guy, and he's from Minnesota, and he is very bullish on Mike Boone, and he does not like Madison that much. I'm actually in love with Madison. I told him I think he would be a first-round fantasy running back if Cook doesn't play this year. If we knew Cook wasn't going to play this year, right now, Madison would jump probably over Miles Sanders into the last pick of the first round, in my opinion. And maybe not right this second, but by the time drafts come in August, guaranteed people aren't going to sit on a Vikings running back because it's just a perfect situation. But again, I digress. Going with them to 4th, the question is Green Bay, Detroit, Chicago. I think Chicago is getting a little bit of hate right now. I think their running backs are very talented. They just have, unfortunately, really bad play calling and really bad quarterback. But put those 2 guys on the Lions or on the Packers, I think they're going to be both very, very successful. But they would have to be 3rd. And then it comes to the Packers and the Lions. I think Aaron Jones is better than Kerryon Johnson. And I don't think there's any way anyone could argue that Kerryon is better than Aaron Jones. There's nothing to back it up in any way, shape, or form. And then it comes down to A.J. Dillon, DeAndre Swift, and that's just basing it off of college play and potential, which I'm not going to do, so I'm going to let them kind of exit each other out. So overall, it's got to be the Packers 1, Lions 2, Bears 3, Vikings 4 without Dalvin Cook.
Because I even think that, like, from living down here, I think DeAndre Swift is going to potentially, if Dalvin Cook plays, DeAndre Swift is eventually going to be the second best running back in the division.
It's
in
kind
my
of
opinion,
crazy that the Chiefs took Clyde Edwards-Helaire over DeAndre Swift, in my opinion. Like,
I don't get it.
I think he fits the Chiefs right now. I think he fits, I guess, what they might need. But, dude, you pass on DeAndre Swift to, get, an asset that you might need. I don't know. Get the whole weapon.
I know. Everyone keeps arguing, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was perfect for Andy Reid. Who cares? It's like having a garage that's just big enough for a Hummer, so you get that instead of a Porsche. I don't care what's the best fit. Take the Porsche. Don't be a moron.
That's 100% true. There's the cameo.
Fantastic.
There's the cameo for this week. There's the trailer or whatever the hell it's called. What do you call after, the little...
Yeah, the thing you just ruined.
whatever the hell it's called. There it is. And that's perfect, dude. That's exactly what it is. I can't believe they would do that.
It's insane. I think 5 weeks into the season and DeAndre Swift is the best running back. I just hate that he's going in the late 5th. I would have liked to see him go in like 6th and 7th. Oh, it would have been such great value. I wouldn't even thought about it.
You're looking at him and you want to do it, but you can't. You can't do it. It's just if you make a pros and cons list, it's not the year, and you just know in your mind it's probably you're gonna regret it, but you can't because it's a bad decision.
Yeah, because I can get so much wide receiver talent in that round that it's like, I can't do it for a guy who has Kerryon Johnson to compete with when I can get freaking Cortland Sutton, Terry McLaurin, Tyler Lockett, Keenan Allen, DJ Shark. Like that group of wide receivers is just too good to pass up for the potential of DeAndre Swift. If he falls to the 6th, I'm gonna eat it up. I think it's gonna be a great pick. I'm just gonna have to stash him for a few weeks.
I think, but you can say that in every single round. There isn't a round outside of round 1 that the wide receiver value isn't going to be better than the running back position, but you still need running backs. And if you go draft a running back, 2 running backs in the first 7 rounds because the wide receiver value has been better, and now you're going to go draft running back 3 and 4 in round 7, 8, 9, you're looking tough. Your depth in running back is shot. You have to understand that the value you're going to be missing out on at wide receiver is okay in rounds 4, 5, and 6, depending on how you want to draft your team. But you need to get into round 8 with at least 4 running backs. Let the receivers go and try to find your late stashes because there's a plethora of those as well. Like, I don't know. I just feel like, Carl, you get done with your team and you're going to have a running back from the first round and 8 wide receivers to go after it.
All right, real quick, just to see, because I'm kind of really bullish on the 2 running backs too. How far would it have to go before you took a wide receiver as your second pick? Like if let's say you're all McCaffrey, Barkley, Elliott, Kamara, Cook, Henry, Drake, Mixon, Chubb, Sanders, Jacobs, Eckler, Jones goes. They're gone for your second pick. Instead of literally the top wide receivers are on the board. Where I listed all those guys, where's the cutoff where you're like, all right, I'm taking a wide receiver? You have to do it. Like of those guys, like where's your cutoff?
I think it's right before Eckler.
Right there.
I think Jacobs as the 11th running back. I'll take any of these 11 running backs, honestly, before I take Michael Thomas. I'm not saying that they'll be better. I'm not saying they'll have more fantasy points, and I don't advise anyone to do the same. I'm just saying what you should do is take all 11 of those running backs before you take Michael Thomas because it'll help your team out in the long run.
I want to see if y'all catch this reference. You, Tommy Vercetti, the man with the big cojones, that's you, Nick, from GTA Vice City. Like, that's some big cojones if you wait that long. Like, I can't do it.
I'm with him. Do you know Michael Thomas is never the wide receiver 1 in a given week? He's wide receiver 1. He's never the wide receiver 1. He has never been the wide receiver 1 in a given week. It's never happened.
Yeah, but he's super stable. And
no, it is. It's just an interesting stat.
Yeah.
It blew my mind when I heard it.
It's the same as, what is it, like Chris Carson could be started as many games like Christian McCaffrey, but you still want Christian McCaffrey because he has those big games. But in our latest mock draft, it went McCaffrey, Barkley, Elliott, and then Michael Thomas. And then I sat there and like, do I really want these guys over Devontae Adams? And I'm high on Devontae Adams. I think he's going to have some really massive positive regression in touchdowns. I can't even go a running back. After those 3, I have to go Michael Thomas or Devontae.
Here's the problem. If you don't go the extreme Nick and Matt route of going running back, you take Michael Thomas there at great value. Guess who's reaching? Guess who's sitting there in the 3rd round and like with a big frown on their face reaching for David Montgomery because that's your only running back option for your RB2. That's what you're sitting. Are you happy with that? Because that
No.
you're going to be reaching for your RB2, and you're not going to be happy about it, where you could have just grabbed your running back, be happy, and then just take nice value the rest of the draft with wide receivers. I think that's the problem. It's a tough pill to swallow, passing on those wide receivers, but I think it is the move.
And to add on to it, you'll not only feel that regret when you're drafting David Montgomery as your running back too. You'll always be chasing that dragon. The whole draft, you're going to be. Maybe Keyshawn Vaughn really is going to be great. Like maybe Damian Williams. This is.
Yeah, you'll have to reach on a third one. Where if you took two up front, you can take Duke Johnson as your third and kind of live with it. I mean, you know what I mean? Hoping David Johnson goes down. You don't want to do that, but you could almost pallet that.
Like that. There's no reasoning. There's no explanation to ever not go running back this year. This year, you have to do it.
I mean, unless you're 1, 2, like if you're at the very top, right?
Well, yeah, but at least at that point, I mean, your second and third pick are 1.
Oh yeah, you're leaving the third round with a running back anyway.
Exactly, you're leaving the third.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play the other side of this and do what I like to call darting. So I in this mock draft, I just throw darts basically. So listen to these running backs that I went with after going Devonta Adams and Travis Kelce. So no running back in rounds 1 and 2. And I'm like, okay, somebody who I at least know is gonna be RB1 on their team. Le'Veon Bell, get him on my team. After that, I'm like, DK Metcalf, fantastic value in round 4. And then I'm like you're saying, there's just no freaking running backs left. So I've gone with Raheem Mostert, who wants to trade.
Out on the team.
Hold on, you guys. I haven't been here for 2 weeks, but has there ever been a running back whose value was more tied to the team he's currently on than Raheem Mostert?
No.
Be running back 1, and then he was like, must have heard me, and he was like, shit, I need a trade. I could be running back 1.
But then I got Matt Breida and Chase Edmonds, so I'm gonna get one
RB2. Oh, no. I thought
no.
those were your options. All right. Okay.
No, I've already drafted these guys. So the thing is, I'm going to draft one more running back that has a way into a really great spot. I'm not saying that the running back is fantastic or that the situation is like right there.
Is it Boston Scott?
Boston Scott is
Scarborough.
Kerryon Johnson is on my board. So he's the one that I'm eyeing. And I think he's going to fall to me. DeAndre Swift is already taken, so he's off the board.
Hold on, in your spot, Kerryon would be a great pick. You're gonna finish in last though.
No. Like I've done the darting technique before, and it's very interesting. It's I usually only do it with rookies. So when people are like, "Oh, they're RB2s on a bunch of teams," and like you could get Alvin Kamara a bunch of years past.
Carl, do you have is that our mock draft you're talking about right there?
Yeah.
Read my team off, because I did the complete opposite thing that I said. And I went wide receiver, and then I drafted 6 running backs in a row.
Yeah, that's darting right there. You got
Tyreek Hill. I gotta hear that.
Read it, baby.
You got Tyreek Hill, Julio Jones, and then you got James Conner, Singletary, Ronald Jones, Sony Michel, Alexander Madison, and Keyshawn Vaughn. If you're not telling me that that's darting, and you're just he might be good.
You got 2 guys that could be the wide receiver 1, and you're hoping someone hits. So it's exciting. If you have a multiple leagues, I dig the excitement.
I got Ronald Jones and Keyshawn Vaughn. Madison, if Cook can sit out. I got James Conner and Devin Singletary. Woof. And then there was one more. I can't remember who it was, but I don't know. That was fun.
I don't know. It's interesting. I like it.
That's why
Sony Michel.
See, who was it?
Sony Michel.
And Sony Michel. He could be running back 1 for New England.
See, this is not even like 0 running back. This is just all the running backs. like you, and I promise you have so many of them.
Nothing but running backs. And the day before week 1 starts, release 3 running backs. 4 running backs. Pick up a quarterback, a tight end, a kicker, and a defense, because none of them will be on your team come week 5. But you will have 14 running backs and 2 wide receivers, and that's all you need, man.
And then bang, because you know that
actually, especially in the COVID year, and where there could be opt-outs. Yeah, grab AJ Dillon, grab Madison, grab all the backups, grab them all, grab Pollard.
Oh, whatever.
Zeke already threw a COVID party. It's already up in the air. Let's get everybody.
Let's get everybody. We do have two more position groups that we could cover for.
Did we cover
North.
any team but the Bears in the NFC North episode?
We've covered all of them.
Yeah, we went to positions rather than teams.
Yeah, we just started with the Bears to get us going.
We're hosting, but good show still.
Yeah,
we talked about doing an all Bears show in the beginning. We ended up doing an all Bears show.
No. It's Darius been the starting,
and we never got back.
The hate. They were just the starting spot, so we could get into the other fun stuff. Because Nick Foles, Mitch Trubisky, Kirk Cousins is Aaron Rodgers, and Matthew Stafford. Stafford is the apple of my eye going into this year.
Apple of your eye. Hold on, you think this isn't rankings or anything like best value, nothing like that? Like, if you had to predict how these guys finished at the end of 2020, what are you're putting money on it, literally. Like, you're putting a significant amount of money. If you lose, you are sad. What are you ranking these for? Obviously, these three. Trubisky's last. Spoiler alert.
Stafford, Rodgers, Cousins. Stafford, Rodgers, Cousins.
I'm still putting AR 12-1, but I love Stafford. I do.
Yeah.
I think that with Devontae for a whole year, Rodgers will do enough to be one, but Stafford is criminally underrated. I know people throw that out there, but he really is.
He really
is. It's fantastic value too if we're gonna bring value into the equation. Fantastic. He has such a good supporting cast too. Like it's just so many weapons, and your defense is shit, Nick.
I know. Thank God, because that's gonna be a lot of fantasy points. 7 of 8 games he played last year, he was a top 10 quarterback. In those 7 games, Kenny Golladay was a top 10 wide receiver 5 of those times. The team, these all, and you add Swift, like this is going to be the whole team's. It's going to be the best show on turf, the best show on turf for an 8-8 team that you've ever seen. I promise you.
Wasn't Stafford before he went down like top 5, top 3? I don't want to oversell it, but he was like really up there, right? He was up there.
He absolutely was. And our defense has only gotten worse. So points on points.
And then for the tight end position, is there anyone? Maybe Hawkinson a little bit, but
Hawkinson. What are you talking about? This is a breakout season right now, and that's not just by a Lions fan. This is like Hawkinson should be a guy you're targeting if you're waiting late in drafts and you plan to stream. Get Hawkinson early. The dude's working out with Kittle. He's an Iowa tight end. He's buffer than fucking Thor. Like this is what you want. He's the
only tight end you can draft in the entire. Well, Irv.
What about Irv Smith? What about Irv Smith? I'm a little bit. Go, Nick.
Oh no, I just said Irv's not bad.
I think though in a regular tight end, there's so many tight ends at the end. Irv's probably not being drafted, right? Standard with one tight end. He's not being drafted. There's only one tight end you can draft in this whole division. Yeah. Going back to Aaron, by the way, you're talking about the Detroit defense. That's actually another plus besides Devontae is Darius Slay, which I feel bad for you. I love Darius Slay. He's out of the division. That's one really gigantic obstacle gone from Aaron Rodgers' path too. So I mean, that is like probably the biggest obstacle in the entire division for Aaron Rodgers, at least scoring. I mean, the Bears give him nightmares, but it's too bad. What?
Nobody here, or is it just me that can't hear what you're saying?
I said Jeff Okudah, motherfuckers. Jeff Okudah is about to come out here and drop the Slay out of your brain. You're gonna be
next year.
Slay who? And it's gonna be Jeff Okudah. He's gonna be the Lattimore of the NFC North. It's gonna be embarrassing for Adams, Thielen, Robinson.
Hold on. Adams cannot be guarded. I watched the Bears literally try to triple team him, and it did nothing. Like they actually had 3 people on him. It was sad.
He will be able to be guarded if Jordan Love is out there. I can tell you that. If this is the last year Aaron Rodgers with the Packers,
we're not even talking about it.
What if Okudah is the Mo Claiborne of the NFC North?
I think it's safe to say Okudah will be good.
Okudah will be great, even though he was ranked the same rating as CJ Henderson in Madden.
But Madden rankings is just. Did y'all get the video I sent where you could almost claim that Nick and Travis Kelce are brothers.
I didn't get what you meant by that. I did see that, and
he's like looking into the camera, smiling, and he's got like the same beard and everything. And I'm like, wait, is that a tanned Nick? Anytime
I get mentioned with Travis Kelce, I'm a happy guy. He's a good looking dude.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Where would you put Okudah? Where would you rank him among the cornerbacks today? Like, if you had to guess, where do you think he finishes? Number 1, Jared Alexander. I'll just take that away from you.
Who actually was my number 1 cornerback coming out 2 years ago. He was.
I love that guy. But Okudah, I love Okudah.
Yeah, he's division like cornerback. Who's the best cornerback?
Yeah, where would you put Okudah? Do you
probably last in the division of all cornerback ones?
Would you?
It's difficult, and he's facing some like
division. This is a really good division with corners. You know what I mean? Like our defenses are all good in our division. At least the secondaries are, except for the Lions.
We have a question we're gonna just hit real quick. Quintus Cephas, what do we think of him?
It's good. I hope he eats this year. There's a lot of mouths to feed in Detroit, and fantasy purpose, do not put anything anywhere near him. Dynasty, I don't mind taking a shot at him. Really, really good wide receiver who I think was hurt a lot in college by his lack of quarterback play. So let me see what he can do with Matthew Stafford throwing him the ball. I bet he can be pretty fucking good. But
I bet he gets drafted in some leagues because I think once they have training camp up, there's going to be some highlight reel passes thrown to this guy because they already had some early offseason ones where I think there'll be some intrigue there. But yeah, you said there's so many people on this team. You can't.
Yeah.
Amendola is still going to see some work. Hawkinson's supposed to emerge. Marvin, Swift, carry on, and of course, KJ.
Yeah, you can't have 5 guys be amazing. That's just difficult.
You can when you have Detroit's defense and Matthew Stafford.
40 burgers. 40 burgers.
Honestly, the last offense I saw allow 5 people to really thrive was probably the Cowboys back when Dez was like at his best, like as far as running backs and tight end and like 3 wide receivers. That was the last time I think that they had like an entire offense of fantasy relevant players. Like, and they weren't obviously all fantastic. Back when Jason Garrett was actually like kind of doing stuff that, was cool.
Running the football and clapping.
I'm semi excited to have him in the Giants because I'm hoping maybe he like goes back to his roots and tries to bring some of that to New York. His old school offense where spreading the ball around everybody. We'll see.
No, it's going to be fun, and it's been a super fun show here today. Next week, we'll hit another division, and Nick gets to pick because he was so sad that it was the NFC North. But I would like to thank everybody in the chat for joining us. Thank you, everybody on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcast for joining us in Afterwards on Demand. And check out csdfantasy.com for even more fantasy content and the YouTube channel with CSD Fantasy, where we now have 1 video up every day. Guys, thank you for joining me here today. And signing off for the Fantasy Rabbit Hole.
I haven't gotten paid yet. I ain't showing up next week.
We never know if you're going to show up. Signing off for the Fantasy Rabbit Hole is Nick Faber, Matt Williams, and Carl Dunger. Till next time.
What day? Show.